Hello, hopeful homesteaders. It has been quite some time since my last upload, and I thank you so much for sticking with me and staying subscribed to my channel. I also noticed that there's a few new people that have subscribed since my last video, so thank you so much for subscribing, even though I haven't had any new uploads in quite some time. I will discuss that later, just not today. So today I am on a mission to get a couple things done before some events that I have going on later in the afternoon. And one of the things that I have on my list to do is meal plan for April. And to be able to do that, though, there's 2 more weeks left in March, and to do that I need to go through our deep freeze. So that's why I'm out here where the deep freezer is, and I'll show you how I do that in order to find out what types of meats that I have on hand in order to be able to meal plan. So what I do when I shop is I don't shop for the week that we are in. So when I plan a meal plan, it's for 1 month, and I do it with what we already have on hand. I don't go shopping with it in mind that I'm going to buy food for that week because it's more expensive. We definitely find a lot more deals when we're buying in bulk, and we just happen to pick up things that are on sale. Well, we just went in on a chicken order with my parents, so we bought quite a large order of chicken. So I know I have lots of chicken in here, and I know I have lots of beef, but the cuts are a little iffy. I'm just not sure what cuts of beef I have. So I'm going to go through the freezer and show you how I organize things. All right, to get started, quite some time ago, I printed out this blank sheet and I filled in different categories of meat along the side here, and then I laminated. These two were added after I laminated, so that's why they're with erasable marker instead. So what I will do is I'll go through my freezer, and if I pull out 5 packages of ground beef, then I will just check off 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then as I'm cooking through the week, when I make something with ground beef, I'll just erase one of those checks so that I know when the next time I want to make something or something comes up and I need to make something quickly, then I know I still have 4 packages left. So I'm not necessarily as good as upkeeping this record as I should be, but I'm trying really hard to be a little bit more organized. Not just organized initially. I'm very good at organizing things initially. I'm just not necessarily good at keeping it up. So I'm going to try very hard to do that. So I'm going to go through my freezer, and I'm just going to put check marks down all of these. Sometimes I pre-make different meals, so I would just put a check mark there and I'd know that I have these meals pre-made. Otherwise, I will just put a check mark on each one that we have, so that way I know what kinds of meats I have to be able to meal plan with later. Okay, so that's how I organize that. I also made a quick list here because we don't keep all of our meat in the side-by-side refrigerator that's in the kitchen just because it's so small. So what I do is I keep all of the meat in the big chest freezer, and then I bring it in once a week so that they can be easily accessible. So these are the ones that I'll need this week. So I'll pull these out, and then I will make my list of what I have in the freezer. One tip that I can share about organizing a deep freezer, which organizing a deep freezer is very difficult, but one tip I can share is that these Aldi bags are very difficult to use in the store just because you tend to overfill them and then they get too heavy that you can't even pick them up. So, I mean, it's the same sort of thing here, but if you're careful, you can divide different meats into a bag, and then you can just pull out each bag, and they're much easier to put back in rather than taking out 20 pieces of frozen meat. So that's how I do that. So as I pull out each package, I'm just going to go to my list and mark it off. So here's my list, and I'm just going to write on here, because this is packaged in 3. This is how we bought it from the bulk order that my parents and I just split. I'm just going to write 1 because we would use all 3 of these for our family of 4. Probably we'll have leftovers too. So that's exactly what I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through and do that with everything in the freezer and just divide my different meats into different bags. Okay, the contents of the freezer has been inventoried. I'm finding that I think I need 1 more of these printouts, but for vegetables, and I'll show you. So here's the freezer all organized, well, sort of, as much as I can. So these bags I can just pull out and see what's underneath them, but for the most part this is chicken over here, then in the middle is oddball things, and then beef over there, so that way I can keep them a little bit separated. Okay, now that I'm all done taking my freezer inventory, I'm ready to start my actual meal planning. And for that, I have a bunch of these printouts that I printed out. They're blank, and I just went ahead and filled in the month, which is next month is April, and took my calendar and figured out what the days are and where they land. And then I will put in any holidays. So I just put in Easter for Easter Sunday, so I know that that is going to be a special meal. For the most part, I don't like to cook on Sundays, so I try to leave those for a leftover. So I really only cook Monday through Saturday. So those are all the meals that I will make sure that I put in there. The other thing that I try to do before I start looking at what kind of food we want is I'll fill in anywhere that I know that we're going to be out and about for meals, which doesn't happen a lot anymore. But we have a rotating schedule with our neighbors. So one week we will have them over here for dinner, and then the next week we'll go to their home for dinner. So I put that on there, and then Good Friday, of course. So once that's done, then I can start picking out what meals that we have. To do that, I have my freezer inventory. So I know what meals I can make with what meats. And then I have a binder of a lot of our favorite things. But basically what these are a lot of our family favorite meals that I printed out from Pinterest or the internet, or even pulled out of recipe binders and put in a cleared sleeve so that I can cook and the recipes won't get dirty. So what I'll do is I try to alternate what types of meat we have, and here recently I've picked one day a week that we'll have vegetarian meal, and it's usually on Wednesdays is our vegetarian meal. So then I'll go probably chicken, beef, pork, and then another chicken. So I'll probably do chickens on Monday, Tuesday beef, Wednesday is vegetarian, Thursday is probably pork, Friday is chicken, and then Saturday will be something else. So let me get started and I will check back in our progress in just a little bit. Okay, here is a look at my April menu with my chicken column. So my Monday's filled in, my Tuesday's filled in, which is basically just beef, mostly ground beef, with another stir fry in there. Then I'm going to fill in my vegetarian or even vegan dinners here, and then probably switch to pork. And then I have mostly my chicken here. With the exception of Good Friday, we'll have salmon, and then I'll fill in Saturdays. So that's what it looks like so far. And I forgot to mention that I love using these friction erasable pens because I make a lot of mistakes, but I really like to write in pen. And they have all different colors. They have black and blue and red and green, but get yourself one of these friction pens because they're erasable. So they're very handy. All right, let me finish this up. Okay, it looks like my April meal plan is basically done. I will go back and fill in any side dishes and that sort of thing later. These are all main dishes, unless it's a stir fry or something like that, or the vegan meals. They don't include vegetables for the most part. Some of them already come that way just because that's what the recipe calls for, so I just put them in there. But otherwise, I don't really add the vegetables until later. I've still got a couple weeks left of March, so I'm not going to bother with doing that. I also wanted to point out one little thing that I do with my recipes is most of them just have the recipe on, or what the meal is called, and then some of them have this little P after it or another initial. I don't have anything else on this recipe, but for this month I only cited it once, and that little P means Pinterest. If I have it somewhere else that I haven't printed it out yet, that's what I'll do. I'll just put P on there for the vegan meal that I haven't tried yet, so that's why it says Pinterest on there. If I'm citing a cookbook, I'll put, I have special cookbooks that I reference often, and I have them labeled 1 through, say 10. So I'll put, instead of P here, it would be number 3 and then circle 3 so that I know that it's in recipe book number 3. Anyway, That's what I wanted to share with you today, friends, and I hope that some of the things that I did today maybe will help you, if not get organized, at least give you some ideas on how to set up things to make them easier for your week or month. This is just the way that I do it. It's easier for me to plan a month at a time and then rearrange things as I need them. It's just easier for me that way, but you don't have to do that way. You can do it, a week at a time or 2 weeks at a time. When I first started, I was only doing a week at a time, and then I started doing 2 weeks at a time. And then when we moved, 35 minutes away from the major grocery store, it became a little bit more important for us to plan a good solid chunk at a time. So now I just do a month, and it's easier for me that way. So I hope that was helpful, friends. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.